He told me he had cancer. Then I caught another woman answering his phone at the hospital. It started with the weight loss, the bruises, the late nights, the mood swings. All the classic symptoms that make your gut scream, something's wrong. But when I confronted him, his eyes welled up like he'd been holding it in for months. I didn't want to scare you, he whispered. Stage 2, chemo starts next week. Everything else in my head, the gut feelings, the inconsistencies, the late-night drives, disappeared behind that word, chemo. Who questions a man fighting for his life? I didn't. I cleared my schedule, I moved meetings, I canceled my sister's bachelorette trip. Every Wednesday, I drove him to a downtown oncology center and waited in the car for hours while he got his infusions. He'd come out exhausted, pale, sometimes holding a cold ginger ale. I threw up twice, he'd groan. Let's just go home. I cooked, I cleaned. I held his hand through every alleged blood test. But there were red flags. Small ones. Like how he never had a wristband. Or how his chemo appointments always ended exactly at 3:15 p.m. Or how I once spotted a glimmer of cologne on his collar, not antiseptic. Still, I told myself the worst thing you can think in a situation like that. If I'm wrong, I'm a monster. But I wasn't wrong. Not even close. The first real crack came 2 months in when I brought him soup while he was resting post-treatment. He wasn't in his room. His phone was on the nightstand, buzzing. Voicemail, new message from Jess Burner. I didn't mean to listen. I meant to pretend I hadn't seen it. But my thumb hit play anyway. Her voice came through like a slow slap. Hey baby, hope the chemo show was convincing today. I miss you. Wish it was me crawling into your bed after, not her. I froze. The word chemo was in air quotes. She knew. She was in on it. I left the soup on the counter and went back to my car. Screamed. Slammed the steering wheel. Then I went numb. Was this some roleplay kink? Was she delusional? Was I? But the next day confirmed it. I followed him. Instead of parking at the hospital's cancer wing, he pulled into a boutique hotel 5 blocks away. Checked in like it was just another Wednesday. I sat in the Starbucks across the street for 3 hours, hands shaking, watching the exit like a sniper. At 3:12 p.m. sharp, like clockwork, he walked out. With a woman. Tall, blonde, wearing his hoodie. Laughing. Holding his hand. I snapped a picture. And then another as they kissed. The timestamp, 3:14 p.m. His chemo fatigue, excuse for being too tired to eat with me that night. Her lip gloss was still on his mouth. I didn't confront him that night. I waited. Because what I found next shattered any hope of explanation. That voicemail, it wasn't the only one. Turns out when you log into your partner's voicemail online, because, say, they once gave you their AT and T credentials, you get everything. And he never deleted anything. There were 12 saved messages from Jess. Some mundane, some disgusting. One of them sent during our 3rd anniversary dinner. I wish you didn't have to play cancer patient tonight. I hate sharing you. Play. Cancer patient. That word play hit like a gunshot. I replayed it 5 times, each one confirming the same thing. He never had cancer. The hospital visits, lies. The weight loss, dieting. The mood swings, cheating, guilt. The only thing real was my pain. And now I had a plan. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't rage. I would gather every voicemail, every photo, every timestamp. And I would let him walk into his own grave with a smile. I needed one more thing. Proof he never set foot in that hospital. So I called the oncology center myself. Hi, I'm calling about a patient, Eric Moore. I'm his emergency contact, and I'm just trying to confirm his next treatment day. He's been so out of it lately. There was a pause. Then the receptionist said the words that turned my stomach inside out. I'm sorry, we don't have any patient by that name. I hung up. Shaking. Burning. Eric walked in 20 minutes later with takeout and a bouquet of daisies, my least favorite flower. I know I've been cranky, he said, setting the bag down. I appreciate you. I nodded. "Wanna watch a movie tonight?" he asked. "Sure," I said, and smiled so hard I thought my teeth might crack. Because I had already made an appointment. Not with a lawyer. With his mother. The woman who thought her son was dying. The woman who cried every time she saw me, thanking me for being strong. She was about to find out the truth. And I wasn't going alone. I was bringing the voicemails, the photos, and the blonde woman's full name. Because tomorrow was his fake treatment day. And Jess, she didn't know I booked the hotel room next door. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling while Eric snored beside me like a man who'd never had chemo, never missed an orgasm, never been caught. At 7:00 a.m., he left for his infusion. By 7:45, I was already parked across from the boutique hotel. It had a name so generic it sounded like a cover story, the Willow Suites. I booked room 304, the one directly next to 306, the one he always requested. I knew this because I'd called the front desk pretending to be his wedding planner, doing a romantic anniversary setup. The concierge cheerfully gave me his preferred room and even mentioned Mr. Moore's standing reservation for Wednesdays. Disgusting. At 9:02, I saw him arrive. No limp, no cane, no signs of someone undergoing aggressive chemotherapy. He strolled in with a gym bag and a tray of coffees like he was filming a rom-com. 5 minutes later, Jess showed up. Blonde, tight sweater, big tote, smiling. I didn't film them yet. I needed something better. Instead, I waited, heart pounding, palms sweating, and then tiptoed to the adjoining door between our rooms. Some hotels still have them, lockable from both sides. He hadn't locked his. I cracked it open and pressed record. At first, it was just voices, muffled laughter, joking about her getting lost on his floor. Then her voice, breathy and smug. "Did you tell her yet that you're gonna fake the terminal part and say you're in remission when you move in with me?" Eric laughed. "Not yet. She still thinks she's gonna be the one nursing me through hospice." Jess cackled like it was a punchline. I saw red, but I stayed quiet. Then he added, "I give it 2 more weeks, then I'll say my body, not responding. I'll go away for a while, pretend to die, let her grieve while I start over with you, clean slate." My hand shook on the phone. Jess asked, "What about your mom?" And he said, "She'll believe anything. She still thinks I'm allergic to shellfish. I faked that in high school to avoid her shrimp casserole." They laughed again. He was going to fake his death. I ended the recording and walked out, straight to his mom's place. Her face, when she heard the first voicemail, was heartbreaking. When I played the hotel audio, she whispered, "He said goodbye to me last week." Apparently, Eric told her the cancer had moved to his spine. Said the doctors gave him 6 months, said he didn't want to be a burden. He hugged her, cried, and told her not to follow up with the clinic because they're on a privacy lockdown. She baked him a pie. I showed her the hotel photo, the kisses, the laughing, the timestamp. She stared at it like it was a stranger. Then she turned to me and said, "He was never sick, was he?" "No," I said, "he's just sick in the head." The next Wednesday, I made my move. Eric left for his treatment again. But this time, he walked into 2 surprises. First, I booked a private detective to intercept him outside the hotel and serve him with paperwork. Not divorce papers. An intervention agreement, co-signed by his mother. A lawyer-drafted document threatening him with public defamation, a class action fraud case, and police involvement for psychological abuse unless he confessed. Second, when he got into the hotel room, Jess was gone. Instead, she had sent a note. "Saw your Reddit history. You told someone else the same hospice lie. We're done." Turns out Jess had gotten curious and Googled him. Found his alt account. Found his other side chick. A girl named Mandy, who thought he had pancreatic cancer and was already terminal. He'd gotten sloppy. That's the thing about narcissists. They always do. Eric came home early that day. He walked in, ghost pale, sweating, and for once silent. I was on the couch, waiting. He stood there, opening and closing his mouth like a fish. I said nothing, just pulled out my phone and played the voicemail. Wish it was me crawling into your bed after chemo. His knees buckled. He sat on the floor, still not saying a word. So I dropped the final bomb. I emailed the clip to your mother, I said. His head snapped up. She cried, I continued. Then she baked me a pie. He blinked, still stunned. And then he whispered the dumbest question in the universe. Do you still love me? I laughed. Laughed so hard it turned into something wild and jagged in my chest. And I said, No, Eric, I don't love you, but I saved something for you. I reached behind the cushion and pulled out a small white box. He opened it. Inside, the engagement ring he never gave me. Because it wasn't me he wanted to marry. It was the fantasy of being adored through illness. A lie so deep, he built a world around it. I bought it myself, I said, after I believed you were dying. He reached for it. I snatched it back. Actually, I added, I think I'll sell it, maybe use the money to book a spa day with your mom. Then I stood up, walked out, left him there on the floor, surrounded by the ghosts of diseases he never had. And a silence he couldn't fake. Eric didn't message me for 3 days. Not a call, not a text, not a please forgive me monologue, which honestly made me more suspicious. Narcissists don't go quiet, they calculate, they regroup, they manipulate. So I waited. And on the 4th day, he cracked. A single message hit my inbox at 2:13 a.m. Can we talk? I need to explain, you got it wrong. I left it on read. At 2:24 a.m. another came. Please, I wasn't faking everything, just the timing. I really did think I was sick, just made it worse. And then the piece de resistance at 2:37 a.m. I only lied to protect you. Protect me. He faked terminal illness, cheated with multiple women, lied to his mother, and was about to stage a death. What's next? He only lit the fire to keep us warm. I didn't reply. But I did forward those messages to his mother, just to let her know how remorseful he was. She replied with a screenshot of her own, a voicemail he'd left her. Mom, please stop talking to her. She's making things worse. She manipulated you against me. She's not well. He was trying to flip the script. Gaslight his own mother. Make me the villain. Classic Eric. And that's when I realized I had more to do. Not to punish, but to prevent. Because I wasn't the only one. I reached out to Mandy, the pancreatic cancer girl. Found her Instagram through Jess's follower list. The moment I DM'd her a screenshot of Eric and Jess outside the hotel, she FaceTimed me in tears. She thought he was in late-stage chemo, thought he was infertile from treatment, thought they were trying to adopt a puppy together. She'd never even met Jess. Or me. Or Lisa, the 3rd woman I discovered while digging through his Reddit history. The one who sent him money for experimental treatments in Mexico. Eric had a damn portfolio of lies. Every woman had a different version of the story. Stage 2 lymphoma. Stage 3 colon cancer. An old brain tumor that might be back. Different scripts, same manipulation. We created a group chat. Called it the Chemos. We compared notes, dates, lies, the sheer calculation of it all. Mandy found his burner email, full of draft love letters for different women, copy-pasted with small tweaks. Jess dropped a bomb. He told me he had a vasectomy, and that you were just his caretaker while he healed emotionally. We started building a timeline. Every Wednesday hotel visit, double booked. Every sick day or hospital appointment, he was with at least one of us. Sometimes 2. He rotated lies like outfits. We joked, we screamed, we cried. We trauma bonded in a group chat built on shared insanity. Then someone had an idea. What if we made his next lie public? A soft launch of the truth. So we made a TikTok account. Handle @SurvivingEric. Profile bio, he beat cancer because he never had it. First post, a voicemail montage, set to a light, cheery acoustic song. Hey babes, missed you today. Hope your treatment went okay. Don't let her guilt you, I know you're mine. forever. We'll move in once you're in remission. Followed by screenshots, hotel bookings, calendars with dates highlighted, Wednesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. That TikTok hit 40,000 views overnight. By the third day, it was at 800K. And that's when Eric texted again. Take it down, you're ruining my life. I replied, you ruined ours first. And I wasn't done. Eric still had one weapon left. His job. He worked in nonprofit fundraising for cancer support orgs. Yes, you read that right. He used his journey as part of his pitch, gave speeches about survivor resilience, got donations. At least 2 women in our group chat had seen him cry during a gala toast, raising a glass to the ones still fighting. So we emailed the foundation. Anonymously. Attached the TikTok. And the voicemail. And the hotel receipts. And the call logs. The response came within hours. We're investigating this matter. The employee in question has been placed on leave. And just like that, his cancer career was over. But we got invited to speak on a podcast, one about digital love fraud and emotional abuse. We all said yes. We recorded it together under aliases, voices altered, laughed through our tears, called it Wednesdays Were for the Mistresses. It went viral. Not just views, but impact. More women came forward. More lies surfaced. A woman in Colorado said he claimed to be her fiancé. Another in Florida said he ghosted her after she took him to real chemo appointments for her actual cancer diagnosis. This man had used illness as a fetish, as a shield, as a storyline. And now, the narrative belonged to us. The last message Eric ever sent me came a week after the podcast dropped. Congratulations, you destroyed my life, hope it was worth it. I replied, no, Eric, you destroyed your life, I just put the spotlight on it. Then I blocked him, deleted his number, but kept one voicemail. The first one Jess left. Wish it was me crawling into your bed after chemo. Sometimes I play it for people. As a reminder of how believable a lie can sound when you want to believe it, and of how powerful you can become once you stop. I thought the TikTok, the podcast, the suspension would be the end of it. But narcissists don't go down quietly. They rebrand. 3 weeks after At Surviving Eric hit 1.3 million views, Mandy sent a screenshot to the group chat. It was from Facebook. Eric had launched a new page. Men Who Heal, a community for quiet warriors. His bio. Cancer survivor, mental health advocate, betrayed by the ones I loved most. He cropped his own face into black and white photos, wrote poems, shared healing quotes. One reel featured a candle flickering next to an empty chair with the caption, "She left, but my fight continues." We stared at the screen in silence. He was repackaging us, the women he gaslit as his trauma. Mandy texted, "I will burn this man's IKEA bookshelf myself." But Jess had the best reply. He's soft launching a victim complex. Still, it was working. Hundreds of women were commenting under his healing journey posts, calling him brave, asking if he did one-on-one mentorship. A few even flirted openly. He started a GoFundMe to rebuild after emotional sabotage. Raised $6,400 in 2 days. The man was profiting from our collective wreckage. We were done being polite. So we dug deeper. And we found Tina. Tina was in Texas. She was older, mid-40s, career nurse, single mom, not on TikTok. She had no idea any of this was happening. Eric had met her through a cancer awareness Facebook group, told her he was in remission but still traumatized, said her nurturing energy reminded him of his late hospice nurse. Tina had been emotionally supporting him for 6 months. They FaceTimed every week. She sent him $300 a month. He told her he couldn't work yet, too fragile, too recently abandoned. He used the same script. People betrayed me when I was at my lowest. He even sent her the same voice memo he once sent me, the one that began, "Some days, I feel like I don't deserve love." We brought her into the group chat. She didn't cry. She got quiet. Then said, I'm a nurse, I should have seen this. I should have known the signs weren't real. I told her what I told myself. You believed because you're a good person. That's what predators like him count on. That night, we launched Phase 2. The Unhealing Eric series. Every woman recorded a short reel. One voicemail. One photo. One timestamp. One truth. We didn't speak over the footage. We let it breathe. Just Jess's voice saying, "This was the man who said his blood work was bad. It was, that's my lipstick." Or Mandy quietly saying, "He told me I was the only one who knew about his treatment." This is a screenshot of his email to another woman the same week. We drop the videos in sync every Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday, baby. They exploded. The hashtag Eric Uncovered trended. TikTok stitched it, YouTubers did breakdowns, even a therapist on Instagram duetted it with. This is a classic covert narcissist who uses illness to bypass accountability. Eric went dark for a few days. Then someone found his burner Reddit. Posted in "Are men going their own way? They're lying, all of them. Groupthink exes, it's a takedown campaign, classic female rage." He still didn't get it. It wasn't rage. It was evidence. And now, we had one final card to play. Remember the voicemail? The first one I found. I downloaded the full MP3 from my AT&T account, time-stamped and metadata intact. Then I uploaded it to a public Google Drive. With permission from every woman involved, I included a full PDF. The Chemo files, how one man weaponized illness to control women. It was clean, sourced, polite. We sent it to every nonprofit he applied to. His old employer's board of directors. The podcast that once interviewed him about resilience through sickness. We didn't make demands. We just sent the truth. The dominoes fell fast. His GoFundMe, removed. His Facebook page, deactivated. His LinkedIn, nuked. His speaking gig at a wellness conference in Scottsdale, canceled. And Eric? He tried to pivot again. This time into masculinity coaching. We caught him running a group Zoom class called Finding Strength After Betrayal. Jess joined with a fake name. Recorded the entire thing. In it, Eric said, "Sometimes people project illness onto you, emotional illness. They can't handle your energy." We used that quote as the title of our final TikTok reel. Set it over footage of him walking into the hotel, holding Jess's hand, wearing his hospital hoodie. The caption, "We couldn't handle his energy because it was radioactive." That was the last straw. Eric deleted every trace of himself. We haven't heard from him since. But that's not the real ending. Because trauma doesn't just leave because the liar does. Sometimes it lingers. It flickers through your mind at night. It whispers, "You were so stupid, how didn't you know?" But I'm not stupid. I loved someone who lied well. And I turned that pain into proof. Proof that truth is louder. That women can organize faster than abusers can recover. That revenge isn't always violence. Sometimes it's documentation. And sometimes, it's just surviving. Together, by the time the final reel hit 1 million views, we weren't just surviving, we were documenting history. We got emails from journalists, mental health nonprofits, even a university psychology department that wanted to feature our story in a course module on deception and relational abuse. And somehow, despite all the attention, Eric still wasn't done. He created a new identity. Not a pseudonym, a full-blown alter ego. Someone in the group chat found his profile on a niche dating site for cancer survivors. It was under the name Aaron M. The photo was filtered, cropped, and flipped, but it was him. He listed himself as a testicular cancer survivor, age 34, interested in meaningful connection with someone who understands suffering. His job, grief counselor. We stared at it like we were looking at a ghost wearing his skin. It was him, just rotated a few degrees. And just like before, he had already started messaging women. We found 2. One in Vancouver. One in Detroit. They both believed he was recently widowed. He told them he had no digital footprint because his last relationship ended in online harassment. He meant us. This wasn't delusion. It was strategy. Eric wasn't hiding because he was ashamed. He was mutating. But this time, we were ready. Mandy took the lead. She made a second TikTok account at Who is Aaron M and posted a side-by-side facial comparison. Eric's past photo next to Aaron's filtered one. Then she broke it down. Same nose angle. Same birthmark on the left jaw. Same text in the background of an old video and the new profile pic. A framed quote that read, "Grow through what you go through." The caption, "New mask, same monster, Eric uncovered." It blew up. Again. One of the women Eric had messaged duetted it, shaking near tears. "This is the man I thought I was dating. I told him about my miscarriage. He told me he lost a daughter. I thought we connected." She had sent him a care package. We sent her a care package back and added her to the chat. We were up to 9 women now. Eric hadn't faked one relationship. He'd faked a community. We built a shared Google Doc called The Pattern. It tracked names he used, fake illnesses claimed, emotional hooks deployed, dates and locations, lies repeated across victims. We started seeing the repetition. Almost like a script. You remind me of someone I lost. I feel safest when I'm with you. There's something rare about your energy. Most women couldn't handle what I've been through. It was templated seduction. Trauma as foreplay. Then came the bombshell. A woman named Krista reached out via DM. She was his wife. Illegally. She thought they were separated, just not finalized yet. She didn't even know about the cancer story. Because he'd told her he was deployed overseas. Yes. Eric claimed he was doing logistics support for wounded veterans in Germany. He said he couldn't talk often, that he was helping soldiers get home. She believed him. He had been gone for 10 months. She had no idea he was in state, living 40 minutes away in a short-term rental booked under his brother's name. When we told her everything, she broke. Not just emotionally. She broke the silence. She sent us wedding photos, videos, proof of shared bank accounts. She was still on his health insurance. He had married her during the same year he told Mandy he had testicular cancer and could never father children. Krista had 2 kids with him, a toddler and a 6-year-old. We were all stunned. None of us knew about the kids. The horror crystallized. This wasn't just cheating. This was calculated identity fraud, weaponized sympathy, financial abuse, emotional colonization. We had all been used for cover. Every story he told one of us gave him more credibility with another. He triangulated empathy. And when the spotlight got hot, he shape-shifted. That's when we made the decision. We weren't going to take him down again. We were going to erase him. We worked with a legal advocate who specialized in cyber abuse. She helped us file a collective report to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. We included voicemails, emails, IP addresses, financial records from Krista, recordings from the Zoom coaching sessions. He may not have stolen millions, but he committed wire fraud, emotional coercion across state lines, and impersonation of a healthcare professional. He impersonated a fucking dying man. We were no longer his exes. We were his witnesses. 2 weeks later, an update came through. Eric, or Aaron, depending on the day, was picked up for questioning in a multi-state investigation. His burner bank account had over $40,000 across 6 transfers from women in our chat. Krista was safe. She got emergency custody of the kids. And we started planning a meetup. Not to celebrate, to grieve. Because when you leave someone like Eric, the relief is real, but so is the wreckage. None of us trusted our guts anymore. We over-explained. We over-apologized. We checked our partners' phones, even when they didn't give us a reason. But here's what we had. A circle. A chat log. A Google Doc full of hard truths. and each other. The day the news broke about his arrest, Jess sent one final reel. Black screen, white text. To the women who trusted him, you are not weak, you were targeted. It ended with our anthem. Not his. Not mine. Hers. And this time, the comments weren't for him. They were for us. We met in Chicago. Neutral ground, easy flights, no associations with him. 9 women, 1 rented Airbnb, a long weekend. There were no matching t-shirts, no girl power hashtags, no influencer energy. Just trauma passed like wine bottles, and laughter sharp-edged and sacred. Jess brought a Polaroid camera. We took photos of our faces, not smiling, not posing, just present. Alive. We cooked pasta, ordered too much takeout, watched trashy TV, played voicemails like war stories. On the second night, Krista pulled out her laptop. She opened a folder labeled "The Other Side of Him." Inside were pictures, documents, recordings of Eric in their home, feeding the kids, doing dishes, reading bedtime stories. Her voice broke. I watched this man read The Very Hungry Caterpillar and then tell me he was flying to a trauma retreat in Arizona. He was actually at a lake house with Lisa. I sat next to Krista and didn't say a word. I just handed her a tissue. Not because I pitied her. Because I understood her. Every woman in that room had once made the same mistake. We believed a man who used pain as currency. He counted our empathy like dollars. But it wasn't all grief. Something shifted the next morning. Mandy had an idea. What if we made a database, she said. Jess blinked, like a cheater registry. No, like a story vault, a place where people like us can upload patterns, flag red flags, map the behavior. We called it MirrorRoom. Because that's what this was. Holding up a mirror to someone who spent their life ducking behind masks. I built the website in a week. Basic design, anonymous uploads, secure logins, no names, just patterns. Within 72 hours of launching, we had over 200 stories submitted. Some were short. He told me his ex died, she didn't. Some were long. He proposed, said he was terminal, had me open a joint bank account, then disappeared with $15K. We vetted the entries, looked for consistency. The same phrases popped up. I've never trusted anyone like I trust you. I had to learn to lie to survive. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to leave me. They were almost verbatim. Same manipulation. Different hosts. Like a virus changing form. But now we were tracking it. The story hit the news. Not because of Eric directly, but because a journalist stumbled across MirrorRoom. She DM'd us. I want to write about the women turning heartbreak into digital protection. We said yes. The article dropped with the title, Gaslight Ghost, Repeat. It told the story of how women found each other after being burned by the same man, and built something so no one else would get caught in the flames. We didn't name Eric. We didn't need to. He became a type. An archetype. The illness liar. The terminal manipulator. The sympathy thief. By that point, more than 500 stories had poured in. Some were from men, some from non-binary folks. It was bigger than us. It always had been. Pain is universal. So is deception. But so is resistance. The last time I heard Eric's voice, it was via a 20-second voicemail he left Krista's lawyer before his arraignment. Tell them I was hurting. Tell them I didn't know who I was. That line stuck with me. Because it was true. He didn't know who he was. So he stole our reflections. Mirrored our empathy back at us until we believed it was real. But in the end, he wasn't the main character. We were. Every woman who told the truth. Every person who stopped explaining themselves and started documenting. Every survivor who looked at chaos and said, "You don't get the last word." That's what MirrorRoom became. Not a revenge platform. Not a smear campaign. A monument. To truth-tellers. To women who stopped apologizing. To the ones who saw the pattern and screamed, "No more." At the end of the Chicago trip, we burned something. Jess printed a copy of Eric's GoFundMe page. We lit it on fire in a little ceramic dish on the balcony. Not for him. For us. As the flames curled around his words, rebuilding after betrayal, I said the thing I never got to say when I left. I forgive the version of me who believed him. She didn't know yet. Mandy added, but I'll never forgive the version of him who did. We all nodded. It didn't feel finished, but it felt true. And that was enough. I didn't expect peace to feel like silence. No confessions. No TikToks. No emergency group chats pinging at 2 a.m. Just stillness. The kind that settles after a storm tears your whole damn house apart, when you stand barefoot in the debris and realize you're still here. After Chicago, we drifted. Not apart, just gently outward. Krista focused on therapy, rebuilding her kids' routines. Jess moved to Colorado, started dating again, slowly, deliberately, no second chances for red flags. Lisa joined a nonprofit for domestic manipulation survivors. Mandy began writing a memoir. As for me, I stopped sleeping with my phone under my pillow. I stopped rereading old messages, trying to dissect the exact moment it all curdled. I started gardening. I know cliché, but there's something healing about watching something grow that no one can gaslight. Tomatoes don't lie, basil doesn't text two people at once, sunlight doesn't pull vanishing acts. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel haunted. Until the letter came. A plain envelope, no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed. Not signed. No name. But I knew the cadence, the self-pity disguised as depth, the vague philosophical flourishes. It was him. Eric. I'm not writing for forgiveness. I know I've lost that. I just want you to know I'm in therapy, not court-mandated, voluntary. For the first time, I'm learning how my survival mechanisms became weapons. I don't expect redemption, but I do hope someday you'll remember the good parts too. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I sat there for 10 minutes, then set the letter down and poured myself a glass of water. Because that was the difference now. I could pause. I could choose. I wasn't trapped in his maze anymore, chasing clarity while he rearranged the walls. He was behind glass now, somewhere distant, irrelevant, contained. And me. I was whole. Not because I healed perfectly, but because I stopped hiding my wounds. I let the world see the mess and found out I wasn't alone. MirrorRoom reached 10,000 submissions. A tech startup offered to help us scale. We built a review board, ethics guidelines, trauma-informed vetting systems. We brought in counselors, researchers, a legal team. It wasn't just about Eric anymore. It was about patterns, education, protection. We ran seminars. We published reports. We created a network that existed because women finally said, "We're not ashamed of being fooled. We're ashamed we were trained to keep quiet." And the world listened. Some parts anyway. Others pushed back. Called us bitter, angry, man-haters. We were documentarians. And if they didn't like the footage, maybe they should stop auditioning for the role. I kept the voicemail. The original one. The one from Jess. Wish it was me crawling into your bed after chemo. It doesn't haunt me anymore. Now it's a time capsule. A moment in history, a cautionary tale, a sonic relic of how far I've come. Sometimes I play it at conferences, right before I say the line that always earns gasps. That's not a confession, that's a weapon, and I let it live in my phone rent-free for months. The audience usually goes silent. And then they nod. Because they've been there. Maybe not with illness, but with illusion. With charm that curdles. With love that turns clinical. With the kind of betrayal that makes you question you. But I don't anymore. I trust my instincts again. Not because they're flawless, but because I've finally stopped outsourcing my truth. We added a quote to the MirrorRoom homepage. It came from one of the very first messages we received, from a survivor in Oklahoma who found our TikToks late at night while crying on her bathroom floor. I used to think I was crazy, Then I realized I was just alone in a lie someone else designed. That's what this story is about. Not cancer. Not cheating. Not even Eric. It's about remembering your voice. Louder than shame. Sharper than guilt. Clearer than any lie whispered in the dark. And if you're reading this, if someone made you doubt your sanity, your memory, your worth, I have one thing to say. You're not crazy. You're just waking up. Welcome. We've been waiting for you. Have you ever gaslit yourself into staying? Drop your story in the comments. Let's tear off the mask together.